Hi, everyone. This is Mark Wong with Ameriplex, coming to you about discuss the Hafnium compromise to on-prem Microsoft Exchange servers that we recently had. I've got with us from ESET Security, Tony Anscombe. ESET has done an extensive amount of work in regards to this Hafnium compromise and done a lot of the initial discovery. So, Tony, if you could pick up from there and share with us some of what you found.
So thank you, Mark. Thank you for that great introduction. So firstly, this is a very, very serious incident. 4 zero-day vulnerabilities in Microsoft Exchange Server. So let's look at what that means in basic terms. So if you're running a Microsoft Exchange Server either on your premise, i.e. a server on your premises, or you've hosted that server at a service provider remotely, then there's potential that a bad actor could have gained access and they may be controlling the actual network the server is on in some way. So that could be a very long-term foothold for them in the network. So this is a significant issue. Now, what could this allow them to do? Well, it could allow them to steal emails, exfiltrate data, remotely execute code, or install other malware for other purposes. So the options to them, unfortunately, are somewhat endless. Now, if you're listening to this and you're sitting there thinking, well, I'm on Microsoft 365 or Azure cloud deployments, well, rest easy because those systems aren't affected. Now, before we go any further, let's explain what a zero-day is, because I used the term just a moment ago, and I think sometimes people hear these terms and don't always know what they mean. Well, software is rarely perfect, and from time to time, vulnerabilities are identified. So many of these are found by good researchers, and they work with the vendor whose software they found it in, under what's known as responsible disclosure. Now, the vendor fixes the issue before the researcher discloses anything publicly, normally within a set time period, and before anybody else has discovered it. So, and before anybody, more importantly, has had a chance to actually exploit the vulnerability. Now, a 0 day is where the vendor, in this case, Microsoft, had 0 days to fix the issue, as the bad actors were already exploiting it on discovery. So in this case, there are 4 zero-day vulnerabilities that are actively being exploited, with over 250,000 organizations using on-premise Exchange servers. That's just a huge opportunity for any hacking group or cyber criminal group or bad actor out there. Now, the good news is that Microsoft have released a patch, so there is positive news in this as well, to fix the issue. And that patch is available for Microsoft Exchange Server 2013, 16, and 2019. And these updates have been released out of band. Now, what this means is it was an emergency update outside the normal mechanism and timeline. And as I've already mentioned, these vulnerabilities are being exploited by a bad actor group known as Hafnium. Now, they've been exploiting the vulnerability prior to Microsoft releasing the fix that brought the issue to the public domain, or brought public attention through the media. Now, the group are known for cyber espionage and typically target government, defense contractors, think tanks, and they're mainly focused actually in the US. If we look at the timeline, of the attack. So, but once the vulnerability became known due to the fix being released, then other bad actor groups have jumped in and started exploiting it too. So if you look at this timeline here, you can see that the earliest exploitation was identified on the 3rd of January. The researcher that reported this to Microsoft found it on the 5th of January. And then just ahead of Microsoft updating, so releasing that update to the broader public community, then other bad actor groups joined the party and started exploiting the vulnerabilities, which probably made this more of an emergency fix for Microsoft from their side. And this means that the targets were no longer probably limited to the interest of the Hafnium group. The other groups taking advantage, Lucky Mouse, Tick, WinNTI, and Calypso. You've got to love some of the names some of these groups go under. These groups are organized and resourced and typically have purpose, and they're often linked to cyber espionage, or in fact considered by some to be linked to nations, states, and such like. But we'll leave that attribution and speculation to others in this instance. And then once the update was released, then you have mass exploitation begins. And this means that any bad actor, group, individual, hacker has jumped on the vulnerability and taken the opportunity to exploit it. Now, in the days after the release of the patch, the ESET systems witnessed attempted attacks on more than 5,000 unique servers in over 115 different countries. And remember, this is only what our systems, the ESET systems, are seeing. So you now get a picture of how widespread and what an opportunity this has become for cyber criminals, unfortunately. Now, this issue is then made worse as there's typically a delay between Microsoft releasing an update and actually organize implementing the update. So thus there becomes a window of opportunity for these bad actors to step in and do their thing, which typically is malicious. And be aware, bad actors could use the vulnerability to deploy something that they don't take advantage of now, but leave for another time. They'll be aware that teams are looking for strange traffic patterns or such like, or activity, and they may just leave their malicious code sitting on somebody's network, do nothing with it now, to avoid detection while everybody's looking for it, and come back and activate it later on. So you can see there's a real danger there. So what can you do? Well, firstly, if you're a leader of an organization, you're listening to this, you need to find out what steps your IT teams have already taken, if they have the technical capability to actually follow the guidance that's out there. And if not, check that they've gone to an expert company such as Meriplex and contacted them for help to avoid this issue. Now, if you're in the IT team, then the advice from the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, or more commonly known as CISA, is that you create a forensic image of your system and that you check for indicators of compromise to see if any bad actor has attempted to exploit your server. Now, to help with this, Microsoft have released some tools that will actually go and look for those indicators of compromise. So you should go and check Microsoft's website and download those tools. Now, if you have a Microsoft Exchange server that's been affected, then the biggest thing you need to do is obviously update it. But having that forensic image to start with is super important. Now, if there's some reason that you can't deploy the update, then follow Microsoft's guidance on alternative ways to mitigate this threat. But your best option really is to update. Now, obviously, products like ESETs are going to help you here as well. So talk to the Meriplex guys and talk to them about that mitigation as well. Now, if you think you've been compromised, then I strongly recommend you connect with the team who have cybersecurity professionals ready to assist and collect that forensic evidence. But if there's a question on how to do this, don't hesitate. Reach out, contact your trusted advisor, contact the guys at Meriplex, contact ESET, and we're all here to help you. Now, in the first instance, ESET products and solutions detected the files used to exploit these vulnerabilities, and we actually removed the files if anybody attempted to execute them. But now the products are actually blocking them in real time. But this is, like I say, this is this is only part of the solution. This is a stop, fix, gap. You need to be updating those servers, and it's really, really important that you do so. So, Mark, back to you. And if you've got any questions, Mark.
Sure, Tony, that was really good. I appreciate it. So one of the things, that customer example, we actually saw somebody that had an Exchange server that was managed by their local IT team, but fortunately they had ESET in there and we got the notification. So one of the things that, in the zero-day attack like this going forward, if you don't have an ESET solution or something along those lines where you with EDR and all this stuff, it'll capture it for if you had an unpatched server and the compromise occurred like that. So everybody, we're going to post the following resources down below. And again, if you need any help, reach out to ourselves or ESET and we'll get you taken care of. Thanks.